Royals' Vinnie Pasquantino, the Pasquatch, joins us now as our special baseball. Are you going to be our official baseball analyst? We're in a nice Royals blue.
That's right.
This is awesome.
Suit. It looks lovely. Yamamoto Brew gave up a home run in the first, then was lights out the rest of the way. Complete game, 111 pitches, 7 strikeouts, 3 hits, 2-0 series lead for the Dodgers. It's been your personal crusade, Broussard, to have guys pitch deep or the entire game, and now you finally saw it. Did you like what you saw last night?
I loved it. Look, I'm glad Dave Roberts learned from the night before when taking out. Blake Snell was cooking as well as Yamamoto, if not better, and they took him out, and it almost cost them the game. Vinny, this might surprise you. I'm the oldest guy on the show. I know it probably don't look that way. I'm the oldest guy on the show. I remember when it was common, if a guy had it cooking, he was going the whole game. I mean, complete games were like commonplace. I want to know how players, like, how do players feel about this? Because there are so many nights when I'm just like, he had it going. He took him out in the 7th inning. And I feel like even for the fans, like, if I can go to, I mean, this is an extreme, but sometimes you see it, a no-hit game or even a 1 or 2 hit game, like a great pitching gym.
Yeah.
That's great for a fan.
Snell had faced the minimum when they took him out of the game.
Like, it's rare for a fan to see that type of game in person. So how do players feel about, the pitch counts and getting guys out of there when they're cooking?
Yeah, players don't love it, but we also don't have to answer for it. So when managers are looking at what they might want to do, if they feel something, but then the math says you got to do something else, at least they can go back to the math and say, okay, well, the matchup was better if we brought in a bullpen guy. As a player, if you get the starter out and he's rolling, I'm pumped. Like, if I'm hitting, and you take that guy out, I'm very, very happy. It happened in the Blue Jays game the other night when Gausman got taken out. He gave up a homer, walked a guy, done. 76 pitches, I think. So it was cool to see. I think the Dodgers had the least amount of starting pitcher innings this year.
Yeah.
So,
well, go ahead, KW.
No, so my question is the flip side, because that's if you're going, let's suppose you're 0-2 against a guy or 0-3. Does it? And I think a lot of times when we talk about guys getting pulled out of the game, it's like too many pitches, arm fatigue. On the flip side, has there ever been a point where you're 0-3, like, you know what? I saw something. Yeah. Now it's my 4th time facing this guy.
Not really. No.
Oh, really?
Really? Because that's what they talk about.
Yeah.
You would hope the more you face a guy, the more comfortable you get. But if you're not feeling it that day and he's got it going, I don't really want to face that guy a 4th time. Now, I know that the data says the more, the 3rd time through especially is the biggest deal. Is the 3rd time through the order, you want to make sure you get new looks for hitters because they've seen a guy so many times. And the data does show that, but as a player, I don't feel that.
So that's it, because it felt to me like I happened to be watching Dodgers Brewers with a diehard Brewers fan, oddly, and he was over the moon when Snell didn't come out.
Yeah,
and I'm like, that's just a guy watching the team. It felt to me like it probably gave the players a similar energy, like in that game. And I know they ended up winning anyway, but all of a sudden it was close. They scored a run, they got the bases loaded. Do you guys in the dugout, if you see the starter was taken out, get that extra energy from it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, almost as soon as you see somebody start warming up in the bullpen, you see those guys start walking around, you can kind of start to smell it that, all right, this guy, he's wearing, he's getting tired, and then that's when you try to roll, is because that's why bullpen games are so hard for teams to do, because you're relying on 8, 9 different guys to be on that day. As soon as somebody's off, that's where you win the game.
All right, we turn our attention to the Dodgers offense. Dodgers are rolling, Ohtani not. Brewers manager said, hold on, he is not struggling because he's hitting the ball hard. Nevertheless, here are the numbers, Pasquatch. Since game 1, where he started off super hot, had those 2 home runs, batting 103, only 3 hits. The 12 strikeouts I find is jarring.
Yeah.
Are you worried about Ohtani, or is he just going to pop out of this?
I would imagine if they make it to the World Series, he'll pop out of it immediately. He's faced more left-handers than he has right-handers, especially since that first game of the Red Series where he hit 2 home runs. He's faced 70% left-handed pitchers. So when you face the Phillies, when you face the Brewers, you know that starting pitching for the Phillies and then bullpen for the Phillies, there's a ton of lefties. The Brewers have a nightmare of left-handed relievers that are throwing upper nines. So it hasn't been the most fun for them facing some of these guys. But if they make it to the World Series, they've got the Blue Jays, who are full of righties, and the Mariners, who are full of righties. So I'd imagine he'll come out of it.
He wasn't great last year in the postseason. What do you? Because I've been watching, like, what are teammates saying to him as he comes back to the dugout? I know he had the RBI single last night, but what do you say to a guy when your star is in a slump? It just happens in baseball. What do you say to a guy, especially if it's big games and stuff like that?
You don't say anything, or you laugh at him a little bit and tell him you remember
joke
who you
with
are.
him?
Yeah, joke with him, because you know he's your guy. He's gonna need you to. You're gonna need him to get going. So he will, and they know that. So they're not saying anything to him. And for him, he gets to pitch tomorrow night. So or in 2 nights. So for Game 4, he'll be pitching. So I'm sure he can. He's the only guy who can change his attention to something else.
So here, before we move on to the AL, here's my concern's the wrong word, because this wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. But I'm having a hard time figuring out why the Dodgers aren't just going to win the whole thing, not easily, but without a lot of resistance, because they've lost 1 playoff game. They're doing it with a guy who's about to win another MVP, not doing anything since Game 1. Last year, by the way, it was very similar for Ohtani. It wasn't quite as this, he was struggling this badly, and he was dealing with an injury. But last year, he was awesome in the first playoff game, and then the rest of the way did that. Again, the strikeout numbers are huge, and they won the World Series anyway. I understand the Brewers had the better record. Do you think the Dodgers are the clear-cut favorites at this point?
Yeah, I do. I mean, this is what they do. You've got Kike Hernandez at the bottom of the lineup who's doing what he's doing. Teoscar Hernandez. I mean, we're talking about Ohtani, but I mean, just list the guys on that team. Not to make a show analogy, but you know, you talk about the Chiefs practicing in the regular season. It's similar. I mean, they're playing a different game in terms of their starting pitching than how they did during the regular season. So they get to the playoffs, they're doing what works, and obviously they're really tough to beat.
One last question on Ohtani. Some of the articles that we've read, and we kind of make fun of it a lot, of just like the emphasis placed on exit velocity. So like, you know, he's actually not struggling. He's hitting it hard to where people are, and it's just dumb luck. And like, that's the way that the, you know, informed mind looks at it. Like, what's your exit velo off the bat? Do you buy into that? Like, no, man, you're not struggling. You're hitting the ball hard.
That's how you convince yourself. It's the same way as if you're not hitting the ball hard and you're getting a bunch of hits, you tell yourself you're rolling. So it's kind of
so it works out.
It's the same thing. So if you're hitting the ball hard, you take your win in that, and if you're not hitting the ball hard and getting hits, you take the win in that. So he'll take the win in hitting the ball hard and hope that they start falling.
You mentioned Ohtani pitching in a couple days. You faced him?
I have faced him.
Yeah, that's what I thought. What's that like?
My fun fact about myself is that the 2 hardest pitches he's ever thrown are against me. I don't know what he has against me. We're not rivals. Here's the World Baseball Classic right there. That's a strikeout. There's a funny picture of me walking away from the batter's box there where I'm trying to calculate the kilometers to miles per hour. It was like 166, I think. He was good at bat, had a decent time in there until that one.
That one's good.
Right there. When I look back at it, I'm just sitting there, man, how fast was that?
166 is a lot.
This year, another 102, grounded into a double play, got to 0-2 quickly. He threw me 3 straight fastballs. So he's got some issue with me. We'll figure it out, because I don't think he's thrown 3 straight fastballs ever. You typically know that he loves his off-speed stuff. So we'll figure it out one day.
It's a little bit, I just did some research that's a little bit on your scouting report. Can't hit 102.
Yeah. Well, no, I can hit it. I can hit it.
Has problems with 102.
Yeah.
All right, tonight's game coverage starts at 7 on Fox. Mariners, 2 games away from their first World Series trip ever.
Yeah.
It was in the doc. I researched it. That's why.
Okay, thanks, KW.
28 times on the road. All right, so here's some baseball trivia. Gianna, maybe I could be in trivia next time. No. 28 times the road team has won the first 2 games of a series. 25 of those teams have advanced. But there are 3 teams that ended up winning it. Now, Vlad was red hot early on, and he's really fallen off against the Mariners, and the team has followed. Vinny, are you shocked the Mariners are up 2-0 and Vlad is struggling?
I'm a little shocked that they're up 2-0 just because of the way those games went. You felt like Toronto could have at least won one of them. Vlad's struggling. I mean, he went off in the last series against New York. So you thought a tick of regression would come? Probably not. I mean, 0 for 7 is such a small sample of it that anything, if he gets 3 hits tonight, he's a 300 hitter this series.
Yeah.
So you'd hope that the Blue Jays didn't care too much about beating the Yankees with some of those interviews and everything that happened that series.
What do you mean?
It just felt like they were very, very happy that they beat the Yankees. Now, I'm all in for the celebration. I think we've talked about this. Is you should celebrate after playoff victories because they're important and they don't happen a lot. And I'm desperate to get back there to do it again. But you just don't want to take too much out of it. It's similar if a pitcher is pitching and celebrates too much after striking a guy out to end an inning. You don't really want him to go back out there because you feel like he gave it everything he had. So it also feels storybook for Seattle with the year that Cal Raleigh's had. It feels like it's a story to be told. Winning the home run derby, hitting the 60 home runs. So
You think the Blue Jays are in
The
trouble?
Blue Jays are done. Let's just be honest.
I don't
Did
think
you
they're
think
done.
when
I think
you
wanna be
saw
good teammates for
Vlad
Fox.
with Big Papi talking about the Yankees, did something say to you, they're going a little too far, maybe?
maybe a little, but I only saw 2 post-game interviews, and one was the Tigers, and it was Kerry Carpenter, and he talked about the Guardians after they had beaten the Guardians, and then one was Vlad after they beat the Yankees, talking about the Yankees. I just have, that's just a personal opinion. I've never believed in you beat a team and you talk about that team. You just try to, get to the next one because it's such a long playoffs. But they've also gone farther than I have, so they can do whatever they want.
I'm the second oldest person here. Too much champagne, that's why. Too much celebrating. And we said it earlier.
But
and
you
got
say
yelled at.
they like you.
I
you
think
much,
it's
dude.
important, and maybe some of the celebrations go crazy just in the locker room, but I think it's important.
How many celebrations are you supposed to have on route?
Well, if you win the division, it depends because of the wild card. It gets tricky. So you win the division, you win the division series 2, the championship series 3, World Series 4. So hopefully 4.
But you could have 6. You could have
6
up
is 4 up to 6.
And you go into the season saying we want 40s or we want 5 or
5
6.
is typically what most teams say.
But are there any teams that are like, no, we're not celebrating
No.
certain things? They all going for
I don't
that?
think so. Some of the most veteran teams in the league make sure that you celebrate the smaller victories just because.
Like clinching the playoffs and then if you win the division.
Because we played Philadelphia. They could have clinched if they had beaten us on a Sunday. And I was talking to a few of their guys just on the field of what are you guys going to do? Because if you lose, you might have to wait to find out if you – and they celebrated. So that was just to get into the playoffs, not to win the division.
Can I ask one Cal Raleigh question real quick, or you want me to save it for tomorrow? We have them all week. I don't know how.
No, let's do it.
Because you mentioned the storybook piece of it. I think there is. Listen. You were 6th in the league in RBIs. Bobby Witt's one of the face of baseball. I think it's fair to say that the leader of the team is Salvi. And I think there is something special about that position. And if the guy playing that position is also one of or your best player. That's obviously what the Mariners have. Mm-hmm. How impressive, because there's the whole Salvi Judge MVP debate, and I'm not even trying to pull you into that specifically. But playing that position, having the season that he's had, how impressive is that to you as a player?
Yeah, I mean, it's insane to do what, and the fact that like Cal is known, like when you go through your scouting reports as a hitter, you know Cal's behind the plate because he's a good game caller. He steals a lot of strikes. So the fact that he's manning this pitching staff, which is one of the better pitching staffs in the league, and doing what he's doing offensively, hitting second in that order, it's insane. It's also just insane what kind of numbers Judge puts up on a consistent basis too. But yeah, what Cal's doing as a catcher is unbelievable. It's how you'd draw it up if you were to start a franchise.
Before we let you go, do you have a prediction for tonight's game?
No, I need to know if the roof is open or closed because you cannot see there when it's like twilight. So if the roof is open and the sun's out, if the roof is open, sun is out, I'm taking the Blue Jays. If not, I'm taking the Mariners.
If the roof is closed,
I'm taking the Mariners.
you're taking the Mariners. But if the roof is open,
I'm taking the Blue Jays.
why?
Because I think Shane Bieber spins it a little bit better than George Kirby, and it's harder to see spin when it's harder to see.
I was going to say the same thing. It was more of like a question. It was more of like a quiz.
We're testing.
You nailed it. All right.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.